It's not a game. So the song we doing now, homies, roll. Let's do this.
Rolling, 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 rolling. We rolling, rolling, roll. East side, roll with us, roll with us. West side, roll with us, roll with us. We rolling, 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 rolling. East side, roll with us, roll with us. West side, roll with us, roll with us. Rolling, 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 rolling. We rolling, rolling.
It's up to me to open up other people's eyes and make them realize that it's more than this.
This gentleman with the blades.
That is Cedric King, who's unbelievable. He's a master sergeant. He unfortunately quite tragically lost his leg stepping on a landmine. And I believe it was Afghanistan. Wow. Spent 3 months in the Walter Reed in a coma. And we have this wonderful head of what we call the Freedom Team, which is our veterans team. And as a matter of fact, last week, Janet was there, and we go through Walter Reed every few months, and we have relationships, we as an organization, and Cedric was there, and he lost part of his hands and so on. And he apparently, as the story goes, he opened his eyes and was watching television. And another one of Richard Whitehead, who, I don't know if you ever heard of Richard, but Richard won the gold medal last year at the Paralympics. And he was born, I believe, without legs from the knee. There's a whole thing about if you have legs, if you're missing your legs from the knee, from the underneath the knee versus above the knee, there's a very big difference in sort of your ability for these blades and so on. Anyway, Richard, I just did the Chicago Marathon with him last year, and he ran it in 2:43.
Wow.
He's a world record holder. He's from London. He's unbelievable, and he's part of our Achilles team. Anyway, I have pictures of he and Cedric together because Cedric watched Richard at one of the world championships or something, and Cedric was like, if he can do that, I can do that.
There you go.
There you go.
That's something I want to do. I would love to go and visit the soldiers.
We can get you connected with Janet.
I got a different perspective because I tell them I can't miss what I never had. But
it's interesting you say that, Soulja, that we have a number of athletes. As a matter of fact, this morning, I went on a long training run this morning, and I bumped into a young man who I had guided for the New York City Marathon 2 years ago. His name is Simon. And Simon rooms with 2 other of our Achilles, one who's the head of our New York City chapter. And we call them the 3 blind mice. And that's the nice part, is when you get to a point where you can actually joke around about some things that are not terribly funny. They joke, so we joke.
You know me, I like to put my best foot forward. Hey.
Humor seems to be a universal thing. So we call them the 3 blind mice, and they're in their late 20s, and they're very sweet young men and very cute. But anyway, Simon, I've done training runs with Simon, and Simon has never had sight. He's been blind since birth. And so as he explained to me, he has no idea what he looks like. He has no sense. There's a very different perspective for somebody who has never had sight versus his roommate Francesco, who lost his sight at 16. He had a degenerative, I don't know if it was cancer, I'm not sure what it was, but he had sight as a little boy, and then gradually the lights went out. And Simon talks a lot about how sometimes there's an insensitivity or a lack of understanding of the 2 communities. So I use that as an analogy for what you were talking about, Soulja, this idea that those who've never had sight, when I describe things or when we're running, or sometimes his sense of spatial relations is so different than somebody like Francesco, who has that inner knowing about what his body looks like, and just the different, like Richard Whitehead, who's never had legs, versus Cedric, who lost his legs. And it's just amazing being around. And for me to learn as a person, we all have had our bumps in the road, but nothing like that. And it's a sensitivity and an education that I've gotten over the last few years about the different communities and how they interact with each other and how they support one another, but they also teach each other. So It's really been amazing. And Cedric is unbelievable. If you ever want to interview him, he's based in Atlanta. Cedric is unbelievable. And he's a motivational speaker. That picture might be either from the New York City Marathon, or it's maybe from I just did the Tokyo Marathon with him also. And he broke 5 hours and 30 minutes, which was unbelievable. We were all in tears. We were weeping. It was so moving. And he has one more to go for the World Six. He's going to go back to Berlin and run that. And he's just incredible. He's just an amazing, and just he was a master sergeant. And he talks about his gratitude for having this journey because of the stuff he's learned and the way in which he's now walking through life, literally and figuratively. So
how do you, your stories are amazing. And juxtapose Soulja's story, how you came across each other, and also the fact that you've worked for, you're a lawyer, worked for some prestigious law firms. And what brought you to this juncture in your life, motivational speaking and working with Achilles and transformational coach, and then meeting Soulja? When did you meet Soulja? There's a lot of questions I have, but it's just, I think they're all related.
Soulja, I'm pretty sure you and I met. I'll try to not belabor this, and you can tell me if it goes on too long, but I moved out of New York when I was in my late 20s and took a job down at Turner Broadcasting. I was the general counsel for Latin America. That's the job eventually that I took over for our satellite delivered services. So helped develop CNN Español, was very involved in Latin America. We had offices throughout in Argentina, Buenos Aires, and Mexico City, and Brazil. It was amazing. And then I got married, and then I had children. And being so far away from your children at a certain point, it just started getting more and more challenging. And then I also was married to somebody who was an entrepreneur. And so what I know about children is that they don't appreciate intentions. They appreciate, and they know if you show up. So my being away, his being away, all these things. But I was drawn to Turner Broadcasting because of sports and entertainment. That's always been a theme in my life. I've been an athlete. I was a very serious tennis player growing up. I played in college. And the role of sports as a motivator, as a catalyst, as a metaphor for leadership and so on has always been a driving force. My mother was a really good athlete. My dad was very academic, but very supportive. And so we had role reversal. My mother was my brother's Little League coach when my brother was 9 years old, all this stuff. So sports has always been big. So flash forward, have 3 children, and I got very involved in the East Lake Foundation, which is a First Tee program, which is a wonderful purpose-built communities. The idea of using sports as a way to motivate, to help people grow, to get a sense of accomplishment, all those things has always been a big thing for me. So I got involved in the First Tee program. I got involved in we helped bring the Atlanta Dream, the WNBA team. So women leadership, young people leadership, and so on. And then flash forward to let's see, I guess 2009, my mother was diagnosed with cancer. And that was really, when I say shocking, we knew she was a smoker, but it was devastating. And so started to come up to New York. I had 3 young children. And it was a very spiritual, beautiful, difficult journey. She was only 74 years old, decided not to have chemo, but it was a privilege to walk that journey with her. And my roommate from college is an oncologist and a breast cancer surgeon. So I knew what was going to happen. And her husband operated on my mom. So flash forward, my mom passes away. It was brutal and also magnificent on lots of levels. And really,
Yeah. I get it.
it shifted a lot of my sense of what this journey is all about. I watched her body disintegrate, but I also watched her soul soar. It was like this dichotomy. So it set me up for this new chapter of really of taking things much more intentionally and really thinking about life and so on quite differently. And right at that same time, unfortunately, I found out that my marriage was not what I thought it was, and it just imploded. I'd been married for 18 plus years to somebody who was a pillar of the community. We were supposedly a great team, and it turned out we weren't such a great team. And that was those two things together at the same time. The universe sometimes taps you on the shoulder and goes, hello. And then it gives you a little shake and it goes, hello.
Oh.
And then it takes a 2x4 and it smacks you in the head as hard as you possibly can. And it goes, I'd like to invite you to wake up. You are cordially invited to wake up.
Okay, I get it completely. We all do. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And it happens in different ways. And I don't mean to, this is the journey that I've been on. And I think we get invited and we can accept the invitation or not. And so I basically, with my 3 children, decided that I couldn't have my sons, if I wanted them to learn how to respect people, especially women, I couldn't allow myself to be treated in a particular way. And one of the things I learned, I didn't really understand narcissism at the time. Sadly, narcissism is not, we're all getting a master class in narcissism at this point. But I got mine a little earlier, and I learned that as hard as I am willing to work, you can't do the work with somebody who can't do the work. So you have to just understand it's never going to change on some level. And that wasn't acceptable to me. So I decided it was time to move on. And that's when really I went on my spiritual journey and my coaching journey. I went back to work. I had been volunteering and I had practiced for almost 25 or 30 years, but I went back into the workforce. It was a jolt. And I started doing work. And one of the men I was working with, who's the managing partner at Northwestern Mutual, said, have you ever thought about coaching? And that's what set me on my journey to do I told him I've coached in sports, and I'm not talking about sports. I'm talking, hey there.
How you doing, sister?
Oh, how are you? Nice to see you.
Likewise, how are you?
Good.
That's William
Partner.
Smith, Wild Child, Soldier's partner.
Hi, lovely to see you.
Likewise.
So anyway, I'm giving a little bit of my overview of my story. So I literally went back to school. I had 3 young children and I went back because I'm a nerd and schooling is where my jam, and I always love to learn. So I went back to school for about 15, 18 months, and I've had my coaching practice for the last 12 years, 11 years. And it has launched me on, what I realize is you start to put, if you live long enough, and I'm not 100 years old, but I am not a youngster, you start to really understand that there are these themes in your life. And I think my understanding of that life, the one constant in life is change. We are all changing. We'll be different at the end of this conversation than we were at the beginning. And I used to do everything in my powers to resist change. And then the universe started laughing and said, we're going to show you, because change is what you're going to learn about. So to be able to harness and embrace change and to do it purposefully and to do it with intention and to keep learning and be grateful for that, kind of began this real intentional next chapter of my life, which is, I think, how I met Soulja. I moved back to New York. My father, unfortunately, passed away, although he lived a very long life. I got 9 extra years with him after my mom passed away. And I never thought I'd come back to New York. And this opportunity presented itself. And I moved back here 4 years ago. And one of the things since being invited to wake up is that I've started to really notice who's around me, what's around me, and not live in a trance. And so I started talking. I think I just started to chat with Soulja when he was on the corner of 60th or 61st and Madison. And I don't know if you were over by Bergdorf or you were over by on Madison, but
Madison.
basically, I find some of the most interesting people that I know in New York are the people who I see all the time, who everybody just walks by. And I just decided I don't want to walk by anymore.
Just your story and how you got here, and a transformational, you're right, I won't be different, we won't be different, the end of this conversation it's powerful. And how I met Soulja,
How did you? I don't know your story. How you?
I was in school at the time in NYU and working on my master's thesis, and I was doing more kind of coding, and then I got into documentary work. My background is in journalism, and I used to work near where Soulja is, originally at 51st in Lexington. And one day I walk out, and Soulja, I don't mean to talk about third. He took my breath away because it was like such a presence, and a very quiet but very presence that was hard to ignore. And like you, I want to have a conversation. And I thought also, in one of the most wealthiest countries in the world, why does this happen? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that led me to, what do you do? And I said, I'm a journalist. And he said, I'm into music. And so began our journey together and discover what his life was about and who he's about. And so very similar, you start looking at the people around you, and
You wake up, right?
you wake up, and you have those wake up moments. And I so identified, certainly with my mother died, you get hit, and then a 2x4 comes. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
And
gonna
there's no doubt. I think for me, then what happened was I moved to New York when the pandemic was starting.
Yeah.
Excuse me, not starting, was finishing. Excuse me. Things were just beginning to open up again. So this was at the beginning of 21. So things were still, so the one thing I could do was I could wander around Central Park and I could run. I ran my way through the pandemic, and I ran my way through the moving back here, and I saw these Achilles bright yellow t-shirts here. I'll show you I brought props so you can see. So this is what an Achilles, you can't miss an Achilles. And Soulja knows when I come out of the park, he's seen many times me in my bright yellow and my hat and here's my Achilles hat. So we're like walking neon signs. So I went up to them and I said, how do you do this? And so I signed up and I started guiding in January of 21. And I've now done, I think it's 13 or 14 marathons, and now half marathons. I'm actually leaving for Sydney, Australia next week, 2 weeks from today. And as part of the team, the Achilles team, we have chapters all over the world. And sometimes I'm a guide. Sometimes I'm just on the charity team where we raise money and my mindset, we have practices on Saturdays and Tuesdays up in Engineers Gate, but we have Brooklyn, we have Queens, but I'm always on the lookout for athletes as well as guides, but athletes who I think would really, hey there, Kiko.
Kiko.
Hello there, Kiko.
Kiko.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you all. But I'm always looking for athletes. So when I saw, that was the other part, when I saw Soulja, I was like, he should come to Achilles. When I've seen all the different athletes and the different kind of incredible spectrum of, sometimes they tell me that it's not handicapped, it's referred to as alt-abled. We have people, it's just unbelievable to me and that we have a whole adaptive cycling program and adaptive hand cycle. We have adaptive just across the board. And so as I've gotten deeper and deeper into it, one of the things Soulja and I have talked about is him either participating to come and participate. We have a guy last year who did the marathon on a skateboard. It was unbelievable. It just was unbelievable. And then we have another guy who has cerebral palsy. He's done over 30 marathons and he pushes himself backwards in his wheelchair. We call him Backwards Bill. Backwards Bill, and you can set your watch to back, and he never gives up. And he's trapped. He's a very smart guy trapped in a body that doesn't work very well. And I think he's an accountant, but we have I can't understand him just because his verbal skills sometimes, but there are moments when he can make himself quite clear. And I will say politically, when he really feels strongly about something, he can be very clear about what he thinks about things, but he's remarkable. He'll do the marathon in 8.5 to 9 hours. So it's all about meeting the athletes where they are and about us all just figuring out how to get to the start line,
All right, what
figuratively and literally.
what methods do you use to promote a positive mindset in the physically challenged?
It's a good question. I'm going to give an example of I work with an athlete, probably the athlete that I work with the most. Just you get a different athlete every week, but you build relationships. And so when you build relationships, like this one young lady, we've done 2 Disney dopies, which is a 5K, 10K, half marathon, 4 races in 4 days. And it is a little bananas, I will sell you, because you have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning because they want you at the start line at 4 because they want to finish it up before the parks open. It's nuts. It's a little nuts, but I have guided her now twice because she is obsessed with Disney. She just loves all things Disney. She is a type 1 diabetic. She lost her mother to complications from diabetes. At Achilles, we have cancer survivors, traumatic brain injury, blind athletes, amputees, so on. So it's a real spectrum of athletes. So I have her glucose monitor on my phone. So my job is to keep her kind of level, and sometimes it goes off the whatever. So the positive mindset, it's not to be toxically positive. What it is to not fight and be in constant disagreement with where you are, to kind of embrace reality. And you can grieve, to feel the feelings of sadness, to feel the feelings of anger, to feel the feelings of frustration, but not because you want what is to be different. Because there's a saying that pain is a part of life, but suffering is optional. So for instance, if I wanted to have blonde hair my whole life, I don't have blonde hair. Now that's a bad example because I could dye it, but I'm going to say if I looked in the mirror all the time and thought, why don't I have blue eyes? Why don't I have blonde hair? Why am I not 20 pounds thinner? Why am I not this petite little, I've never been petite in my life, but that's not who I am. So the coming to and embracing who you are, because not only because you don't have a choice, but mostly because there are essence and beautiful things about each one of us.
Right.
Gratitude and curiosity are 2 practices that I really work hard on with my athletes as well as my clients, to cultivate gratitude, to be every morning, I'm grateful I woke up and I opened my eyes. Doesn't mean it's not going to be a hard day. Doesn't mean there are going to be things I don't like, but it doesn't mean that everything's going to be perfect. But I have a foundational gratitude that then this is where curiosity, I'm going to learn something today and I'm going to teach something today. I sit in that curiosity. What do I learn? What did I learn from having a former husband who really wasn't very kind at times? What did I learn about my inner strength? What did I learn about my dignity? What did I learn that there are people that walk through the world very differently than I do? And that's an obvious statement, but sometimes you have to learn it. Oh my goodness, you think of yourself as a victim all the time. I don't. So each of these things. So with the athletes, the thing that's really interesting is sports hurts. I don't care if you're the greatest runner in the world. When you're at mile 22 of a marathon, it's not easy. You can ask world-class marathon runners and you can ask people who are doing it in 10 hours. And one of the things that my athlete is always asking me, she's, does this hurt? Are you afraid? And I tell her all the time, that's part of the experience. It's going to come and it's going to go. And I'll give you a perfect example. Yesterday, I guided a high school student in the Run for the Future program in the Percy. Does anybody live up close to Harlem? We were up at 137th Street. It was the start of Harlem Week, and it's the Percy Sutton 5K, and we were at the City College. And this young lady had a knee that was hurting her. She's 17 years old. And Run for the Future is a program that works with underserved communities. And it was 50 high school girls. And this is the culminating experience. And I was her buddy, her running buddy. And I turned to her, I said, it always hurts. I promise you that you're not going to do, your body will let you know if you're going to do permanent damage. But fighting through and allowing the pain and having a different relationship with the pain
Strong.
will allow you, it comes in waves.
Mm.
And the thing is that this half mile, it may hurt like a son of a gun. And all of a sudden, and she said to me at the end, she sprinted. I couldn't keep up with her at the end. She said, let's go for it. I was like, what happened? Where did this, right? But she goes, it started to feel so much better. I said, because you allowed it.
Yep.
You allowed it and you didn't fight it. You didn't dwell on it. And we spent our time looking at the architecture. We looked at the trees. We distracted by being in the present moment. And all of a sudden, it didn't grip her. The pain didn't become the focus of everything. And she proved to herself that she could do a hard thing.
You overcame.
Right?
Yes.
And it's not that there will never be pain again. It's not an unrealistic expectations, but one of the things Meb, I don't know if Meb, who is this amazing runner, who's won the Boston Marathon, he's won the New York City Marathon, he's just this incredible, he does a lot of commentating. Anyway, he says, and Kipchoge, who set the world record, he almost broke 2 hours for the marathon. He's like insane. I was in Berlin with him. When I say with him, with thousands of people, and he turned to us and he said, here's a guy who's doing 4 minutes and 20-second miles for 26 miles. I couldn't do that if a tiger was chasing me. Thank you very much. But he said, he goes,
New Balance.
when you've done a marathon, there's nothing you can't do.
Yeah.
And we all looked around, we're like, wow. What? But again, you don't have to do a marathon to feel that way, but we don't give ourselves credit for the inner strength that we have.
It's so interesting you say that, Val. I'm thinking of visuals of, I was looking over some footage of Soulja doing the New York City Triathlon, and there was a point where he was bike was part of his Achilles, and his hand, I think your hand had gone numb. It's just, and somehow you're
sometimes you like you muscle through the pain and
you embrace it. You embrace it.
Yeah.
I saw that. When I saw Soulja doing that sport, I had a whole newfound respect, and it motivated me to want to try things like that in that nature. So I can understand, just like motivation and devotion, it definitely sparks a flame in one's, and it's, to me, it's beauty in pain.
Yeah.
It gets, after a while, it gets numb and like it's not there no more.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think one of the things is that, look, the mind, I don't know, this is part of why also I've started with meditation and mindfulness. It's a very core part of my personal practice, because as well as my clients, and so I'm not talking about 30 minutes a day, like sitting crisscross applesauce in the corner where you're just humming. What I am thinking, though, is that all of us, we're the only animals on the planet that don't live in the present moment. We're either fixated on the past, settling scores, who did us wrong, who didn't, who slighted, who did this, who did that. We carry that around, right? Or we're fixated on the future. I wonder what this is going to be. And once I get that, I'm sure I'll be happy. Or once I achieve that, and we don't live in the present moment.
When I started that, when I took everything that you're talking about, far as though as the world on your shoulders, when I took that, and after my brother passed, when I let go and gave it all to God, it seems as though everything was new. It was fresh. It was just...
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. They call it I'm not a practicing Buddhist, but I do a lot of reading I find Buddhist psychology and so on to be very inspiring. And one of the things they call it beginner's mind. Beginner's mind. If you can literally have almost like a childlike, I'm not talking about childlike emotions, but childlike emotions, exuberance, awe, wonder. If you can fill up your tank with a sense of wonder, if you can keep, like this morning, I went on this long run and the flowers are out and the sky. Last night, I went to see the sturgeon blue full moon.
Yes.
Which was just so breathtaking.
Yes.
And there's lots of not good things going on in the world right now. There's a lot bring us down.
Yes.
I'm not ignoring that. It's an and. The moon was spectacular. And yesterday they had something called Summer Streets, where from Dyckman Place to Brooklyn Bridge, from 7 a.m. till 3 p.m, the whole city was going up and down Park Avenue, bikers, and anyway, it's there. And one of the things is that our thoughts are really lovely, but they don't always serve us well. And I'm not sure if this statistic blew my mind. Guess how many thoughts the average person per day has?
Ooh. I can't guess.
Like 80,000, I'm guessing.
Oh, that was very good. 60 to 80,000.
I have to thank TM for that. Which has helped me with my sanity.
Yeah. But so 80,000 thoughts a day. This is subconscious and conscious, and we have some have more. But I'm going to say, if you rode the wave of each one of those, you'd lose your marbles, right? So we're always choosing, even if we're not aware we're choosing. But what if I said to you, and this is why meditation is so powerful, is that you start to observe your thoughts, and you start to realize how some of them are just bananas. Right. And they really come from, I don't know, they are deep. And so it's this idea, don't believe all your thoughts. And so the ability to literally be in the present moment and allow yourself to be embodied with your whole body.
Be selective what you think about.
Exactly.
And in my faith, it instructs us not to be double-minded, because like you say, sister, all of that, it's some good, it's some evil, it's some awesome, it's some depressing, it's some stress, like 80,000 of that.
Yeah. And it can really, and we have old stories. We tell ourselves stories because we try to make meaning. And so my thing is to try to be intentional about your attention. That your attention is worth a lot. Right now, we're lucky. Sometimes, I don't know, Soulja, and all of you, some of us have a more natural disposition. I have my middle son. Since he's been little, the water just rolls off his back. He's not to say he doesn't pay attention, but
Queen before Kings, man. How you doing?
Hey there. Oh, sorry. But he literally he looks at the glass half full. He just does.
I get the moral off of you, that your life is like clarity. It's like I get that vibe off of you, that you are a free spirit. You make life more simple when it's so complicated.
Amen. I want to say thank you for that, because we can really make things very complicated.
Yes.
There's a very famous, actually, Buddhist monk, and he said, life is an exquisite, Thich Nhat Hanh. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he passed away a few years ago, but he said he described life as an exquisite mess. And it is, it's messy. It's, hey there. It's messy. It's whatever. And we can complicate it. We can try to, what I try to tell my athletes and my coaching clients and anyone who will listen, and my children, although they're young adults, I think they've had me up to here. They love me, even if they don't always, sometimes like, it's enough, Mom. But I said, it's not, I didn't say it was easy. I said, it's simple. You can make things as complicated as you want, but there's actually a beautiful simplicity to the truth.
Yeah. We make our own life complicated, what we bring into it.
Exactly.
What you bring into it, what you think about, the whole nine.
The moment we come out, it's complicated before we even come out the womb. But like you say, when you take control of your thoughts and make sure you focus on the good ones, and you focus on the strong points, and focus on the day, not yesterday, not tomorrow, and
right here, right now. When I run, that's my mantra, right here, right now.
Joy, peace.
Right here, right now. And it generates joy. When I have my interaction with Soulja, even yesterday or 2 days ago with my daughter, that people, there is joy and love out there.
Yeah.
And again, you don't want to manufacture, or there are things that I feel very passionately about standing up for, speaking out about. I'm not ignoring that. but I'm also not going to go down the rabbit hole. The world doesn't need more negative energy.
Exactly.
And the world, I believe, if I can smile at 3 or 4 people in a morning and
Yes.
get them to feel seen,
Yes.
that's an act of defiance, actually. That's an act of,
I love that.
I think, of liberation and treating each other with decency. And so it all really ties together with, I have to learn how to respect myself
Right.
and how to embrace myself and take accountability for myself. And then also have healthy boundaries, the ability to say, you're really interesting, but you're also have a lot of toxic energy, and I don't really want to be part of your drama.
Oh, man, that's
And
right.
I wish
And
good things for
And
you.
every
but I-
battle is not yours to fight.
And
Yes.
mental confusion is, and I feel you on that, sister. I try to stay away from those things that have held me down or distracted me for so many years. And I like when you was like, it's different waves. I look at life as different levels. Once I
Yeah.
get to this level, I done been through hell to get to this level. I'm not
Yeah.
going back
You've earned
down
it.
to the level.
You've earned it.
Yeah, yes.
You've earned it, and take credit for that, and really be when it's, I happen to believe that every single day we are here to teach and be taught.
Yep.
What is your strategy, Fosdo, with dealing with people that you are helping when they have a setback? What do you do to get them back up on the, how should I say it, on a good foot?
A great question. And there's what comes into my brain, there's something called the victim triangle, which is I can't even remember the actual originator of the victim triangle. I learned about it through a wonderful teacher named Lynn Forrest. And she wrote a book called Victim Consciousness, but it's basically the idea, and this is a very Judeo-Christian mindset, very Western civilization mindset, that you're either the bully, the rescuer, or the victim.
Right.
That's how we categorize ourselves, and that's a familiar. And you're always sliding on that triangle. And the idea is that if you are, and we are very prone to want to rescue people, this idea that it's my job, especially as a parent, I've really dealt with this, like it's my responsibility to rescue my children from their discomfort, from a difficult situation. My kids are now young adults, but even then, like swoop in, help them, make it.
Be the enabler.
So that's the rescuer. But we've convinced ourselves as a group that there's something positive about that. The irony is, if I'm rescuing you, I'm actually bullying you. And I'm actually taking away your power.
Oh, interesting.
And one of the things that I've really learned as a parent is to be able to say that I'm not comfortable with your discomfort, but I don't want to undermine you. If I help you all the time, I can walk it with you, but I don't want to do it for you. And what I say to my kids all the time, as well as to my clients as well, you have everything you need to handle this situation.
Yep.
Now, you may not handle it as eloquently or as polished as you want, but you're going to learn from it and you're going to be stronger for it. So what you want to do is you want to get off the victim triangle. You want to really take a step out, because literally, if I'm rescuing you, I'm actually bullying you. And if I'm being the victim, then I'm completely taking away my own power.
Yep.
So the idea is to stop using those labels and to really, when I have somebody who's really swirling, so I'll use the oxygen mask theory of life. When you've been on an airplane, or if you've ever heard an airplane, they'll say, if we lose cabin pressure, put the oxygen mask on yourself,
Right.
make sure you're breathing. Then you can help the person next to you, whether it's your child or another passenger. But if you put the oxygen mask on them first and you forget to put it on yourself, you're not doing them much good, because you're probably going to pass out or die.
Pretty much.
And the second analogy is, if you've ever been to a swimming pool, or I used to swim when I was much younger, and the lifeguards would tell you all the time, when there's somebody who's drowning and who, when you've ever seen somebody drowns, they're flailing and freaking out and You are never supposed to just run right in to help them. You are supposed to talk them down from their flailing and get them to a place of not complete calm, but where they won't be fighting you to the point where you both will go under the water.
And you know what? It's remarkable how you saying this, and you know how they say you really sometimes don't get something until you experience it. Like experience is the best teacher.
Absolutely.
My little brother was drowning and I didn't think at all. I couldn't swim. I don't know why he going to 12 feet, but he went there and he's drowning. So I didn't think. I just jumped in there after him, and next thing I know, he's pulling me under. And I'm like, hold on, bro. It saved both of us. So I understand now what you mean, as though, and that's a philosophy that the elders teach me that, and I had to learn the hard way. Child, stop trying to help everybody else and you ain't helping your own self out.
Well, it's a great way to also distract yourself from yourself.
Yep.
So when you want not to deal, and look, there are moments when I definitely have had, when the pain I'm dealing with or the situation I'm dealing with, I need a break, right? And so I will go, I volunteer at a place called God's Love We Deliver. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but God's Love We Deliver is this amazing organization. They serve 15,000 meals, medically tailored meals a week. They just served their 40th millionth in the tri-state area, and it's just unbelievable. It's down on Prince and 6th Avenue. Again, started by this wonderful hospice nurse who had all these AIDS patients in the 1980s and literally on a bicycle delivered meals. And now they've just served their 40 millionth meal, right? So sometimes I'll just go there and I'll just chop vegetables. Usually you're assigned to like ladle soup. You have a 3-hour, and I will use that time because I can at least have a neutral space. It gives me kind of equilibrium, and doing good for others always makes me feel good. But I'm not rescuing these people. And when I have clients, for instance, who start to swirl, part of what I tell them is that I'm going to walk this journey with you, and I'm going to help you develop skills that are going to make you stronger. For instance, sometimes it's time management. Sometimes it's executive function, really figuring out how to prioritize things. But I'm not doing it for them. I'm trying to skill build.
Right.
So that in their unique way, they're not going to do it the way I would do it necessarily, but I want them to be the strongest version of themselves so that they handle.
Tell me if I'm right. It's like you helping them find a shoe size.
Amen.
Okay.
Amen. Exactly.
Right.
Because if you're wearing shoes, other than, this is again a random fact that I know a lot of random facts because I read weird things, but Rafael Nadal, the very famous tennis player, he's the only athlete I know, and maybe there are others, who wears his shoes 2 sizes too small or 1 size too small. He likes the pressure. There's something weird. I mean, when I think of it, it hurts my insides because I can't.
Yeah, my toes hurting right now.
Right now, right? Exactly. So he's a little random and a little bit different, but it's worked for him. But I'm going to say in general, if your feet are hurting, your whole body's hurting. But that's where we have to be honest with ourselves. And so sometimes what I can help somebody with is identify those places that will allow them to realize I'm really good at these things, but I really need to get a little better at these things.
Yeah.
So how would I say, for instance, we in DC, how would a person like me and other brothers and sisters that's similar to physically challenges sign up for marathons and things of that nature to get into what you're talking about?
Achilles.
Yeah, because I wanted to know what do you coach?
Oh, I'll tell you 2 things. I'll tell you, first of all, I really want to say the thing about Achilles International, it doesn't matter. You don't have to do marathons. And I really want to be clear about that. Some people will choose, that's a thing they want to that's an audacious goal and so on. But we have an event every year here in New York, and they're having one in Mexico City. We have chapters all over the world. It's called Hope and Possibility.
Yes.
And it's a 4-miler. And some people walk with their canes. Some people are in their wheelchairs. And actually in New York City, Jon Stewart, I don't know, from The Daily Show, he is our great sponsor, and he comes out, and Tiki Barber from the Giants.
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah, so they help, they're really big on Hope and Possibility, our events. And it's really a highlight to say that's enough of a goal. Okay, so don't, I'm not degrading what you want to do, but I'm just saying I want to make sure people understand if sometimes it's just showing up every week and being at practice, or sometimes it's
Excuse
walking
me, ladies.
quarter of a mile
Sorry.
or wheeling.
How y'all doing today?
So we have Achilles International.org is the website. And you go on there and you sign up either as an athlete or you sign up as a guide. And then you'll follow the prompts. And I think we have, I just joined the board, and I don't know every single chapter that we have, but I think we have a chapter in DC.
How y'all doing?
Yes.
We have 5 chapters here in New York. And here's the thing, you might go as an athlete, but sometimes you might go as a guide. It depends where you are. So I have had the young lady who I guide as an athlete is now starting to be a guide. She's gotten so strong, and she still has her challenges, and I'm doing a 12-miler, a training run with her on this coming Saturday for the New York City Marathon. So I'll be her guide.
Oh, man.
Last week, she ran the practice for the Long Island chapter.
That's all right.
It's just such a beautiful kind of full circle. And so that is what I would recommend to, and you all have my contact information too. And I can connect you also, like for instance, with Walter Reed Hospital to get connected to talking to Janet. There are so many different possibilities. And so those are at least the top that I can think of. And then my coaching practice is something called Shift into Fifth. It's a sort of funny because now I think cars have eight gears, but it tells you how old I am. But shift into fifth. We used to got into fifth gear, and that's when you're in total alignment. That's when your passions and your values and your skills are all in alignment. Then there's no resistance, and you can lean right into it. So the name of my company is Shift into Fifth, because there's very few times you're going to be in complete alignment, but that's where we're trying to get towards. And when you know yourself, when you know your values, when you understand your energy, how you show up, when you understand how your thoughts have energy and some of them bring you down and some of them lift you up, when you realize you don't have boundaries that are helping to keep some people at a distance or some of our habits at a distance. There's no magic formula that fits everybody, but there are some consistent things. And I talk about the 4 major pillars: gratitude, mindfulness, meditation, being in the present moment, curiosity, and compassion/kindness. The idea, and I don't mean that just as like an airy-fairy idea, like we should just be kind. Okay, Soulja, I'll ask you a question, or you all are musicians, right? When you tense up, and I don't know what instrument you play, but when you tense up, if you're playing the bass or you're playing the drums or whatever, what happens when you tense up? What happens to your ability to perform?
It pauses.
It pauses.
Right? You seize up, right? Right? You can't, right? And the same thing, I know I play a lot of golf, and I'm a runner, and I play whatever. Every time I play sport, this idea that I should get mad at myself or be down on myself or be hard on myself, I stiffen up and tense up.
Unable to follow through.
Exactly. I get stiff-armed. I can't even take the racket back, or I can't take the club back. So when I learn how to be gentle and kind to myself, I can still keep my lens open, and I can still see the possibilities, and I don't lose connection with the things with my own skills. So I can maneuver through the tenseness or through fear or through what, there's no bad or good, but there are definitely things that are more optimal than less. And so kindness and compassion, there's a practice called metta, M-E-T-T-A, which is a meditation practice, and it means compassion. And believe it or not, compassion is like a muscle. We are taught how to be hard on ourselves. We also have a nervous.
You're trying to beat yourself up before the world does it, you know.
We're our own worst enemy. So what would happen if we were able to look in the mirror and say, I love you, I like you? What would happen?
It would be the beginning of a powerful person. And I can say that from experience. One day I had to look in the mirror and I was like, you're not all that perfect yourself, homie. And when I did that, it put me in a position from that day forward to always put myself in their shoes before I get to judging, before I get to even thinking. And I love how you say the shift in the fifth, because you taught me something today. Whereas though as my philosophy, if I can't do it this way, you find a way to get it done. And
that's it. You know, like this.
You can find it, some way you can find an angle to get this job done. And I love from now on, I'm gonna have the mind frame with that shift in the fifth. Like you say, when you get stuck,
lighter touch.
Another gear.
A lighter touch. If you try to jam it into fifth, it's not going to go into fifth. You have to put the clutch down. And
shake it a little bit.
Yeah. And one of the things that I also I try to teach is you may have an idea of what it looks like, but here's the thing. And I'll use this story. I love this. One of my favorite stories is Oprah Winfrey. You may have a goal, but exactly what it's going to look like, you have to loosen the grip. So for instance, when she was like 23 or 24 years old, she had grown up with her grandmother. I can't remember if it was Mississippi or Alabama, but she literally, they didn't have a bathroom. They had an outhouse. She didn't have she was in not a great situation. She had love from her grandmother, but she remembers thinking when she used to work at this television station, she was an anchor or not an anchor, excuse me, a reporter. And she was making, I don't know, $20,000 a year, which was more money than she could imagine. And she got invited to the house of the general manager of the station. And so she remembers going through the neighborhood, this was in Baltimore, and seeing that all of these houses had trees in their front yard. And that was a thing she never grew up with. In Mississippi or wherever she was, she had no trees in her front yard. And so she said to herself, when I get famous, and when I'm not famous, when I'm successful, I'm going to have at least 6 trees in my front yard. But she had counted the trees in the front yard. Flash forward, she forgot about that. And she talks about how one day she stepped into her front yard. She has this magnificent home, whatever, estate or whatever it's called, in Santa Barbara, California. And she started counting the trees. Wow. Let's just say there are more than 6 trees in her front yard. They're probably hundreds. And so she said to herself, she goes, if I had stuck to the 6 trees, I would have limited myself. So that was an aspiration, but she loosened the grip. And it became so much more than she could have. So sometimes we limit ourselves. So this idea of, I want to move in this direction, or I want to go towards this, you keep working on the skills that it's going to take to get there. Because as I said to my kids and I say to my clients, you don't work, you don't get return.
Yeah, what you put in the universe, you get back.
And I know from one of the things about when I did my first marathon, I thought I'm one and done. I'm never doing this again. That's enough. I'm proven to myself. It's not, thank you very much. What I started to realize is that I love the journey of training. It was the training that actually was revelatory to me. I don't love it every minute. Believe me, at 10:30 this morning when I was on mile 12, I didn't love it so much, but I actually was proud of myself because that's what I had set an intention and that's what I needed to do. So I've already accomplished something. I have a sense of accomplishment today. And then I have the great pleasure of talking to you all and sharing. And I was watching your videos and I was listening to your song, roll on. It was
Rolling,
It's a roll on.
Thank you.
that was
Rolling, 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 rolling.
Thank you. Thank
just fantastic. It was great. As a matter of fact, my daughter came in because she's
I
visiting.
gotta put my verse on there.
Yeah.
I want to hear it.
Yes.
My daughter came in. She's, Mom, what are you listening to? It upped my credibility with my kids. Big way. So thank you. Thank you.
That means a lot. That definitely means a lot.
I'd like to thank you for coming on, Valerie.
Nah, man, we ain't going yet, man. We ain't going.
Hold up, man. Hold up, man. This is the sad part of the day, man. Every course always has runner's course.
I feel very grateful to be a part of this. And Soulja, you through you now, look at all the people I've gotten to meet.
Mr.
Yeah,
Chad.
I also want to meet up before you leave town.
Okay.
You said that you're going to be in Central Park.
Yes, I will be. I leave in 2 weeks, but I am happy to. I've told you I want to introduce you to Dom, who is the head of he runs all of our wheel apparatus related. When we're up at the reservoir, we're doing just the running and the walking. At the boathouse is where we have all the adaptive. We have the hand cycles, we have the bicycles, and we keep them in the storage. And Dom is amazing. Dom is a veteran.
Yeah, that's why I want to meet up with you and him before, because I'm leaving in 2 weeks too. So I want to meet up with you and him before you go.
Where are you going? You going back to Baltimore?
Back home.
I'm going back down there with them.
Back
DC,
home.
Washington.
No.
Nice. Then we'll get you connected with the.
Where you at now, Soulja?
I'm in New York.
Hey, Miss Hartman.
Yes, sir. You can call me Valerie, by the way. Thank you.
Valerie?
Yes. This feels like my
I
mother.
got so much respect for you. I'm sorry, Miss Hartman.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I got
I
so
really
much
do.
respect from you. With just in this little time that we shared, I've learned a lot. Gratitude, compassion, kindness. I'm shifting to fifth. It's teaching me to change gears. I have ideas and goals. You done taught me to don't try to be so precise with your goals.
And not the
Give it
dream.
room. Give it room. You know what I mean?
No, exactly. We called not grasping, allowing for a more expansive hand. So you're not
even gave me some
touching.
wisdom for my kids. You done even gave me a bar for my kids. As soon as I get off here, my son in there, he missed the 16 now. And it ain't sweet 16 for boys. I said, you missed the 16 now. So
I've been through that 3 times, my friend.
My daughter just turned 26 last Monday.
Hey, you don't work, you don't get returned. So I can't wait till I get them that wisdom.
I appreciate it. And I will say on my website, just there are resources, there are books, and I also have a blog. I write a lot.
I got you right here.
So there you go.
Got you right here.
It's a work in progress. We are all a work in progress. And I thank you for inspiring me, because there's so many different dimensions. Again, Soulja and I just started talking, and look at the world you've opened up for me, Soulja. So I'm grateful for that.
And another thing, hey, child, send me the link to her, because I might want to do that marathon.
And we both at the same
time.
Let's start with a half marathon. Shall we start with a half marathon, and then we can work our way to a marathon?
That's a good idea, I think.
I mean, you got to crawl before you walk. So you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
I'm not gonna sit there and go do the whole. I want to do it.
I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna show you.
My mom's got cancer, so you know what I'm saying, and I want to do a 5K.
That's interesting. That's why I started doing. I got an invitation to run the New York City Marathon, and my father was dying of cancer. It became the thing that we talked about. Like, I would finish my runs and go to the hospital. Instead of talking about cancer, we could talk about, he was a lifelong New Yorker. So we could talk about the things that I saw. And I'm sorry that you're going through that, but it really changed. My father, I didn't know if he would make it to the New York City Marathon, and he couldn't physically come, but he watched me on the computer. And
take your time.
He left me a message still have about how
I'd rather for you to let it out than hold it in.
I got it here. But he left me a message, and he died 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later. And I'm going to tell you, it's one of the most important messages I have, but the journey, it created hope and possibility for us together.
Yes.
I learned a lot about him because I would tell him, oh, I went to this part of New York, and that would be a catalyst for him to tell me all these great stories. So if it's something that is pulling on you, I'm going to encourage you to do it, because I will never, it was a gift. So I'm going to show you this, guys. Can you see this?
Wow.
Yeah, I can see it.
All right.
Wow.
It's not a Frisbee, and it's not a weapon.
Wow.
It looked like a medal.
I know, right?
All
So
medals.
it's the World Six.
Wow.
And so it's Berlin, London, and Tokyo, Boston, New York, Chicago. And I'm doing Sydney because they just added Sydney as the 7th. But I showed this to you. Believe me, I'm not bragging, although I'm very proud of it.
Hey, show your talent.
That's
That
right.
ain't
Brag.
bragging. It's,
That's
it's
right.
being
Right,
humble.
right? But
You're
if
humble,
you,
encouraging us.
if
I'm
you,
not bragging.
if
That'll
you-
gonna make me go do it.
I tell you something, somebody showed this to me 4 years ago, and I was like, I want one of those. I want to do that.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm telling you, I thought, and people's like, you did that? I literally had never run a marathon before. And that's now 5. I just was in Tokyo celebrating this. And I've raised over $100,000 for charities.
Amen.
Running this. And it's changed my life. So I'm just going to say, you have no idea what's around the corner.
And Miss Hartman,
By you just saying that, encourage me.
Well,
likewise.
And I'm here. This is the beginning of a conversation, not the end. Although we obviously the podcast part, but I just want to share this because
Hey, Miss Hartman, what was your father's name? What's your father's name?
Oh, his name was Bill Hartman.
Thank you. Salute, Mr. Bill.
When I do this marathon, I'm not just running for my moms. I'm running for all the lost ones that you know what I'm saying?
You
for cancer.
That's
I'm
right.
not just doing it for one individual. I'm doing it for all, because all y'all my brothers and sisters.
Amen.
And they
Lifting
gave
each other
me
up.
they gave me 6 months to live when I caught cancer. I was like at 21. I went through the chemo, the radiation, and they gave me 6 months to live. And next thing you know, it was this Chinese sister. She a doctor. She came through and she said, "You're not gonna die. You're gonna live."
It's more fun than we.
Yeah, definitely.
Got more work. We have more people to influence and more people to lift up. That's what this is.
Yeah, that well said. Oh my gosh, what a fifth gear. Unbelievable conversation among you all. So much I take away, and I'm so glad.
I do want to apologize for coming in late. These couple of weeks, I was under the weather.
I'm sorry. I hope you feel better.
I'm still not out the woods, but I did making my best to show my face, because if I'm a start something, I'm going to finish.
You know what? One of the things first of all, I talk a lot about this. The win is showing up. And you do the best that you can, but yesterday when I was running this 5K with this high school student, I said, you've already won because you put in the work and you showed up at the start line. What happens? We don't know. You can get a cramp, you can twist an ankle, who knows? But when you show up and you keep showing up, that's the win.
And another beautiful thing, Miss Hartman, when you said they say strength is in numbers, it's good when you got a team of people to where it's though. Say, for instance, I didn't make it here today. Say, for instance, I didn't get up in time, and because I believe God got you where you're supposed to be at the right time, the right place, because He's in control. I just know that if I don't show up, I got I got Kathy, I got Kiko. It's a team. So
yeah, you guys have each other's back. And let me tell you, that's part of showing up also.
Yes.
That with relationships. And sometimes you have to prove to yourself that you can show up. And that's how you get confidence. Because the story we can tell ourselves is that we're going to keep disappointing. But the first person you got to show up for is yourself. And then that allows you to show up for each other.
I tell people all the time, it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
That's so funny.
With that being said,
here we go. This is
we got to go.
Everybody.
And I like to end every song or every podcast with the Rolling song. So
all right,
let's do it.
Everybody have a blessed day. I love you guys.
Love y'all too, man. Kiko.
Valerie, thanks for coming out.
Namaste, peace, and shalom. Yes, peace and shalom.
Yes.
And namaste.
Keep on the field.
We rollin', 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 rollin'. East side roll with us, roll with us. West side roll with us, roll with us. We rollin', 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 rollin'. We rollin', 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 rollin'. North side roll with us, roll with us. South side roll with us, roll with us. We rollin', 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 rollin'. Midwest roll with us, roll with us. Dirty, dirty roll with us, roll with us.
Love you guys.
Love you. Have a
Cheers.
great
Have
day,
a
everybody.
wonderful
Thank
day.
you so much,
Thank
Miss Hartman,
you.
and it was a pleasure.
It was
Yes.
an honor. Thank
Kiko,
you.
Kiko,
Thank
Soulja,
you.
love y'all, man.
And feel better, Kiko. Cheers.
Bye, all.
If
Bye-bye.
I'm not good, then I got it in the Lord's hand. He got me.
Come in.
Amen. Amen.
Cheers,
Amen.
everybody. Have a great
Bye,
day.
everybody.
He have his hands
Bye.
over me, so I'm good. All right, y'all.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
My he be the ways of living in the street. The Nina Ross give cause to break laws when we flaws. Off the red, evil thoughts into my head. I'm supposed to be dead to what the doctor said. But instead, I choose the ways of busting off lead. With the clip that rip the hollow tips in your shit. From my mind to my nine when I hung up crying at one time. I do the hustle on my grind. That seems fine, I do the hustle.
Oh, wow. I could not believe that the song turned out like that.
We hustle in this life, poverty, living life in a wheelchair, injustices, but at night we dream, we walking in the sky, look at us now, no chains, a world we never saw before. Tomorrow ain't promised to you, so dream with us, roll with us.